Zach, members of the team that brought us the music stylings of former President Donald Trump and the J6 Prison Choir have just dropped a new track, this time with GOP conservative firebrand Kari Lake. What can you tell us?
Well, I can tell you that it sounds like you're going to make me sing the title of the track, which is 81 Million Votes My Ass. And this was released at midnight on Friday. It's a mashup of Kari Lake delivering a speech and some comments with a country musician singing a couple of verses on different conspiracies and repeating the name of the song.
Zach, let's talk a little bit about Kari Lake. She's a Republican from Arizona. She's been vocal about saying Donald Trump won the election. We know that is not true. What else can you tell us?
She's been very vocal that she won the election in Arizona for governor, and that is also not true. And that has kind of been her meal ticket of late, is filing lawsuits, arguing that she did win. None of the lawsuits have gone anywhere. And she's somewhat morphing into Trump. You know, she's stealing his riff about the big lie, and she's spotted at Mar-a-Lago all the time.
Potential vice president contender here if Donald Trump cinches the nomination?
Her name's being thrown out. You know, there's probably about 5 or 6 names that I'm seeing, and her name being one of them. She seems like she's doing everything she can to stay in his good graces. The one difference is that she's never held elected office, where a lot of the other people whose names are being mentioned are currently elected politicians.
Let's talk about Justice for All. We talked about that a few months ago, and that struck a more somber tone. You could hear the prison choir singing the national anthem, and you could hear Donald Trump's Pledge of Allegiance interspersed in there. Can you talk about the tone of this new song, 81 Million Votes My Ass?
Sure. So that first one was almost like a dirge or something along those lines. This one was a country western song, and that was the idea from the start. Ed Henry, who is the conservative commentator who is one of the people behind this track, said that the idea to make this song came to him when he heard Lake say 81 million votes my ass at her CPAC speech, and he thought, man, that sounds like it would be a good country western song. So they're working with a country western musician who's got a pretty good background in that. You know, he's penned some #1 hits, and he's the one doing most of the singing there, and it's just interspersed with Lake. But it's and I'm probably going to take some slack in the comments for this. I'm not a country music fan. It sounds like your typical country western song, although not as good.
Yeah, the guy involved in this, Jeffrey Steele, he was a singer. He also wrote Tim McGraw and Rascal Flatts songs. Those are big, high names. We also know Ed Henry as a former Fox News host. He was fired in 2020 after allegations of sexual misconduct. What was his involvement in this song, specifically with his company, Mailman Media?
Sounds like from interviews he's given, and he has not spoken to me, it's from interviews he's given that he started that company, kind of didn't know exactly what he wanted to do with it, and then they got the idea to start releasing these music singles, and they've used that as the label, essentially. So he formed that company, and with the January 6th Justice for All, the profits of that song are supposed to be distributed back to family members of people who are incarcerated for their activities on the riot. Don't know if that's happened yet. It might be too soon for them to actually have received enough money to share that, but that money is going to be collected by Mailman Media, apparently, and distributed from there. We don't know what, if anything, what's happening to any profits that this song might earn.
We do know that Trump and the J6 Prison Choir track sold vinyls, $100 a pop. Is Kari Lake also hawking merch, hawking vinyls? What is she doing?
Yep, just in time for everybody's Father's Day shopping. She also has the vinyl available for $100. The album cover is her head and profile, and it kind of looks like the Windows 98 desktop in the background. There are T-shirts repeating the name of the song and some other stuff. There are hats. They're running like $30 to $40. So if you want to buy, conservative merchandise, there are no shortage of outlets out there selling you stuff, and Mailman Media is certainly joined them.
I do want to talk about the success of this song. Let's first look back at the Justice for All success. You and I talked about it. Within the first, I believe, 11 days, you reported it sold 22,500 copies and took the top spot on the iTunes store. How is this song performing?
So those figures are for a dying medium. No one's buying music these days, and those numbers just reflect purchases, not streams. And I think people were motivated to buy it for a couple of reasons. First of all, the money is supposed to go to the people who were in prison for January 6th. And you also had the Trump factor. This song, they have not said what's happening with the proceeds. And, much as she tries to be Donald Trump, Kari Lake is not. I don't know if she's going to motivate people to buy the song in the same way he did. But it's too early to tell. We'll take a look and see what the charts are showing up. Probably early next week, we might be able to see some movement there. The YouTube video, though, has gotten about 3,500 views, which is good. I've done interviews with you that get that, but it's not great. It's not certainly the numbers that you would expect to see for, a big chart-topping hit.
Zach, I've been covering politics for a while now, so have you. I've never seen an instance of a politician wading into the music industry, becoming a singer, but hey, you see something new every day. Do you see this being a successful business venture?
I don't know. I don't think they would have started it if they didn't think that was going to be the case. Obviously, the first one, as we said, were different circumstances with Trump, but it does appear that this song is for profit, and they wouldn't be putting it out there unless they plan to make money. And the plan is to make more of them. Ed Henry in his interview said that the backup band is called the Truth Bombers, and they are going to be working with other America First politicians to continue to deliver truth bombs to America's ears.
When they say America First politicians, who specifically are they talking about?
They haven't said any names right now at all. Obviously, we've seen the two they've put out have been Donald Trump and Kari Lake, so I would imagine people who would be comfortable with that ilk.
Zach Everson, thanks for joining me.
My pleasure.